Welcome everybody, my name is Jade Yarddog, and this is my first ever video on YouTube, so hopefully somebody enjoys it. Today we're going to be playing Rebel Galaxy. It's a space fight game. You're in control of a rather large ship, and basically doing naval-style broadside combat in a semi-2D plane in space. So without any further ado, let's get started. Start up a new game here.
Six days ago, you received a cryptic message from your Aunt Juno, the family black sheep who you haven't seen or heard from in over 10 years. The message provided the access codes to the Rasputin, a near-derelict spacecraft and a relic of her younger days. Also included were the coordinates to Rust City, an out-of-the-way space station with a questionable reputation. She practically begged you to meet her there as quickly as possible. Now, after several days of travel and a few unscheduled maintenance stops, you have at last arrived. This is a place of liars and thieves. You wonder how you let yourself get dragged to such a godforsaken backwater.
Money. Mostly money. Alright, so straight into it. See what the station has to say. Ugly fucking bastard. Alright, so there you are. Your aunt asked me to keep an eye out for you. I see you've found her old ship. Bring it into the dock and meet me at the bar. I have something for you. Well, who the fuck are you? Well, Orzu, really don't know you from nothing, so I guess I have no fucking choice. I'll see you later. Welcome to Rebel Galaxy. First, you'll want to get comfortable with maneuvering your ship. Tap E to increase your throttle, which I have changed because that's really annoying. I suggest if you play it that you also change it to probably your scroll wheel. Unless you're playing with a controller, which I've heard is also kind of annoying. So, increase your throttle in 25% increments, and Q to reduce it. Use A and D to steer. I mean, it's typical WASD control. W engages boosters. E does a full stop as long as you're holding it. And I guess we'll get started. So let's go ahead and boost in close. There is a lot of travel in this game, but be able to speed it up really quickly. Into our first station. Rasputin has two turret mounts, but only one turret is installed at present. It's a good idea to visit the equipment bay, enter the weapon selection, and purchase a new scatter turret to install your beta turret mount. Sure. Let's go ahead and get in there and see what we can buy. So right now I don't have a whole lot of money, and you can't really do anything without a lot of money. So we're just going to go ahead and get that beta turret installed and get on with the game. And this is the same interface for every station, pretty much. Anytime you want to buy something, you have to come in here and cycle through everything. We will be making fairly large amounts of money fairly quickly, so don't have to worry about too much grindy. I've already got that installed, and we have barely any money left, so let's go ahead and get on with the mission. So, about to go meet Orzu. You're the spitting image of Juno. So good to see you. Well, I'm glad. I guess if, you know, I look like my aunt, it says something about me. So, where is my aunt? She was supposed to meet me here. To be honest, I don't know. I haven't seen her in nearly a week. She was afraid she wouldn't make it back before you arrived. Well, that's ominous. So why do you say that? She gave me something to give to you on your behalf. Why would she have done so if she was expecting to be present? Good point. Probably thought she was going to die. Well, what is it? Maybe it'll tell me how to find her. Maybe. She called it a specter, although I doubt that's its proper name. Juno mentioned that it's some sort of AI symbiote, whatever that means. I feel like this is about to get me in a lot of trouble. Let's see it. Oh. As to your aunt, frankly, you're in no shape to find her. That's the Rasputin parked in the hangar, isn't it? I hate to say it, but times have changed since that was a worthy ship. Well, you know, fuck you too, buddy. It's all I have. What do you mean? You've got no deflector, no tractor beam, and that whole plating is like paper. And to be frank, your weapon systems are practically pop guns. No offense. Yeah. Sure. Alright, I'll be nice. This whole playthrough, I'm gonna be the good guy. Though mostly... I've already played the game through as the pirate, and it's fun. It's difficult. Probably should have played it as the good guy to begin with to get used to the game, but no matter. So, I can get you an upgrade or two. Juno would never forgive me if I sent you off for your inevitable doom. I can't afford to let it go for nothing, though. I've got a little something you could help me with in exchange. Yep, straight to the bad stuff. What kind of something? Got a shipment of grill whiskey coming in. My supplier, however, seems to have gotten himself into hot water and can't come near the station. I'll give you the payment, and if you can make the exchange, I'll have something for you when you return. Well, considering that Sound Shady I'm Out leads to pretty much the end of the game, go ahead and do it. Excellent. Here's 500 credits for the payoff and the coordinates where you'll meet. His name is Branson Cole, and he should be waiting for you. Bring the whiskey back, and we'll get you squared away, and I'll have some more information as well. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, so... can't really do anything yet with no money, so let's go ahead and leave. Alright, so missions are marked as gold diamonds on your screen and radar. Adjust your heading and point towards your destination. As you move further away from large objects, you will accelerate to sublight speed and warp capability will become available. Warping allows you to navigate vast distances very quickly. View your stellar map to get a better view of potential destinations and routes. Alright, sounds easy enough, so let's look for that gold diamond. There it is. So yeah, turning about in space is simply A and D for left and right, and then you can either press E if you leave it as a default, or I have not. I've changed it to my scroll wheel to go change your throttle all the way up. Once you get away from stations and rocks and the like, you'll see we just popped into sublight speed, and once that engages, you can hold E to engage warp. You'll be doing a lot of warping in this game. You can also upgrade your warp drive later in the game. Makes going around much, much faster. But to start out, you get what you get. Alright. So, warp automatically disengages once you get close to stellar objects. Most of the time, it does it plenty of time for you to get out of the way, but sometimes it is a little slow and you will run into things. You can run into these rocks and they will damage your ship. So we just gotta navigate our way through here, and it's really, really slow compared to the ship I had at the end of the game the first time I played through. So also, like I said, you can press W to engage your boosters, kind of like afterburners. They'll give you a temporary speed boost. If you let it go all the way to 0, it takes longer to recharge than if you just use it up until it's almost gone and then let go of the button. Alright, back to work. Alright, here we are. Oh, okay, pulse scanning. To use your pulse function, press Control, or a shortcut is just the F key, to detect distant objects and resources, and to be notified of bounties in scan range. Mission important icons will be marked with an exclamation point to indicate their status. Hostile and friendly targets appear as red and blue diamonds respectively. Cargo or valuables appear as purple diamonds. Non-piloted mission objectives will appear as gold diamonds. That means, like, if your objective is an actual object that you have to pick up into your hold, it'll appear as a gold diamond in space. And asteroids containing harvestable resources will be marked with gray diamonds. I tried to do mining. There is a way to play through the game making money mining, but it is incredibly slow. The fastest way to get through the game is just to be an all-out badass mercenary for the militia or the pirates. You make tons more money doing that, plus it's more fun because you get to blow other people up. So, let's get going. Alright. So, let's talk to this guy.
Hey there. Orzu send you? You got my payment?
Yeah, let's go ahead since we don't have very many good weapons. You can kill him. It's not super difficult, but it can be done. I did it in my last playthrough. Orzu doesn't really appreciate you doing that because you kill one of his contacts, but he still, you know, you get to sell the whiskey and, you know, go about your business that way. So we'll go ahead and give him the cash.
Mission complete.
And that's the end of that mission.
Warning. Engines at maximum. Accelerating to sublight.
And let's head back to the station. I guess I should engage warp. Might get us there a little bit faster. Damn asteroid fields. We'll say, when I first played this game, my first impression was that basically... Oh, what the hell? You can gather cargo or resources you find adrift, but you'll need a tractor beam to do so. Your starting ship doesn't have one. So after purchasing and installing one, fly near a cargo pod or resources. When prompted, hold E to draw it into your cargo. Holding E is the crutch of this game. Pretty much everything you do will be holding E, and it gets annoying sometimes, especially when you're trying to pick up cargo and you go into warp. There's no way to change it, so you just have to suck it up and deal with it. Larger cargo canisters or records can be salvaged without the aid of a tractor beam, but you might as well get one, because otherwise you'll make about half the money if you don't have a tractor beam and pull in cargo. But like I was saying, my first impression of this game was Firefly. I mean, the Joss Whedon show, and of course Serenity movie. Just the space convoy aspect of it. I mean, you're flying around in space being lawless or semi-law-abiding, just doing your own thing. Picking up cargo, selling it, doing missions. Plus, the music in this game is really good. It's kind of that southern rock meets heavy metal, kind of the what you'd expect from a modern space western kind of thing. Anyway, let's get into warp. Distress beacon. Every once in a while these will pop up. Usually it's traders in need of help because pirates are harassing them. Sometimes it's just pirates and they're doing it to lure you in to steal your stuff and kill you. Alright, so our first combat. Combat in Rebel Galaxy is naval style, which means broadsides, and you will have to use your broadsides. Some of the later fights, if you don't, even if you have, you know, the dreadnoughts with all the extra turrets, you just don't do enough damage quickly enough, and you will die numerous times. So you have to aim the camera to the side and use the left mouse button to fire your broadside cannons. Most of them require a charge-up time, which isn't really anything significant. It's a second or two. Aim your broadside, well, that's what I just said. The longer you hold the right mouse button, the more accurate and synchronized your shots will be. So, you can still use your broadsides on small fighter craft, but the only way you're going to be effective is if you hold the aim until it turns yellow, which I'll show you what that looks like real quick. See right there, it will auto aim and track to whatever's in that firing line. You do also have a range where it'll tell you right there, out of range. So there's no point in me firing on him since I can't hit him. So we just chase him around. Your early fights are going to be a lot of chasing and running. But we'll just keep him in our sights. And he's dead. But I can't pick up the cargo. So let's pulse and see. Oh, he got the other one. Nice. So if you flag down these distress beacons and you help them out, the traders will give you money for it. So that's another viable option of making money, is just hunting down distress beacons. You'll get a lot of them. I mean, you're traveling across entire solar systems sometimes, and you'll run into 3 or 4 distress beacons before you even hit a mission. But anyway, let's get back to the mission here. Go ahead and dock and turn this guy in. So, as you see up there, they removed the whiskey, and we got 9,000 credits, which is much more than if we had just stolen the whiskey from the guy. Alright, so since we got money now, about 13,000, let's go ahead and do some outfitting. Let's go ahead and get a secondary turret. These things are dead useful. The best ones, in my opinion, for the long run are either a flat cannon or the EMP flat cannon. Mines and heat-seeking missiles have their uses, but not until you start making money, because they are a money sink. Every time you use them, they actually use up a physical ammunition, and you have to buy more to keep using it. All of the flat cannons and other gun-type projectile weapons have infinite ammunition. There's no explanation as to why, but you never have to buy more. The EMP flak is great, especially because you will be doing a lot of small fighter craft later in the game, and the EMP flaks disable fighter craft caught in the resulting EMP wave, rendering them inoperable for 5 seconds and reducing shield recharge rate by 30%. It is useless against capital ships, but most of the time your capital fighting is going to be either missile bays or your broadsides, and they do plenty enough damage without having to deal with your secondary side cannons. So I'm going to get the EMP flak, just because fighter craft annoy the crap out of me, and it basically makes them pieces of paper floating in space. So we've got 5,000 left. Let's see if we can... Nope. That's a bit more expensive than I've remembered. So Mark 1 is all we'll get right now for weapons. look in defense. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my hull. And that'll just help me out a little bit in the long run. And that's probably all we can get. Yep, 4,500, 5,200 for shields. So that's it for now. What the hell are you doing? What? No, there's a dog out there. Sorry, my cat is making all sorts of racket on the door. Anyway, check out components. In here, you can upgrade your engines, booster, warp drive, cargo hold, tractor beam, jump drive, and subsystems. These are pretty neat. They're like little perk equipment. Fault tracker is useful if you want to do the mining thing because, like it says, it identifies the weak points on the mineable resources during your scans. If you manually aim towards those weak spots, you'll get either higher quality or more objects out of the asteroids, which means more money, quicker, all that kind of crap. But I'm not going to really bother with mining. Repair bot is useless. I've used it. It's extremely slow. They don't point that out quite enough. It is extremely slow, and it doesn't do anything to your hull. So, I mean, the only thing it does is it repairs your subsystems, which you can't really see what's damaged anyway. So most of the time, you know, after a fight, you just run straight back to a station and repair your ship, and it becomes a useless piece of junk taking up a slot. Maneuvering boosters are good later in the game once you start getting the larger ships that turn slow. So it's a good thing to get in there. Ordnance tracking. It's like it says, better targeting of torpedoes and mines from precision aiming modes. What that means is on most of your turrets you can go and actually select them and go into right mouse button down the sights targeting. With your secondaries you cannot. They're just dumbfire, or in the case of heat-seeking missiles they just launch and find a target. If you plug this in, you'll be able to actually manually aim where they fly. Never really used it. Heat-seeking missiles do good enough job on their own. Nebula mitigation, some people might want. There are sections, if you get into a nebula, that will mess up your minimap. Actually, the first time I saw it happen, I thought the game was broken and it was glitching out because everything was shaking around like, you know, something had broken in the code. But it's actually part of the game. If you fly into a nebula, you cannot really effectively use your radar until you get out of it, unless you get this little thing. It will negate that, basically, so that even if you fly into a nebula, your tracking and pulse scanning and your minimap will function just as normal. Deflection absorber. This thing is the most amazing piece of equipment, and you will definitely want to get it. Like it says, it channels the energy of missile and mine blasts into your shields, almost negating their damage altogether. And I've actually used it tactically and run into minefields to recharge my shields and blow up pursuing ships. It's actually very nice to have, especially because you will find a lot of enemies are using missiles against you, and your flat cannons can only do so much in deflecting or prematurely detonating any missiles. So this thing actually helps a lot, but it is nearly 3 million credits, so it takes a while to get there. Turret accelerator improves the projectile speed of turrets, so basically your, you know, explodey bit gets there faster. Helps you with tracking and accuracy and all that. Heat management reduces the rate of heat buildup by 10%, which is mainly for energy weapons like your beam lasers and mining lasers. Turret extenders, what it says, increases range by 25%. Your turret optimizers are also nice if you're going with a lot of projectile weapons. Reduces the reload times for any installed projectile turrets by 25%. Hacking Spike doubles the time for going into transponder satellites. You'll see that later in the game. They pop up like distress beacons, but they're called unknown signals. You basically fly up there. It's like a satellite. You hack it, and you get a piece of information, whether that be local bounties, market prices, and supply drops, or other things like that. They're pretty neat when you run across them. I've never actually needed this because puzzles are super simple. They're basically a WASD key press. They give you a string, and you have to hit all the keys in the right order within a certain amount of time, and I've never failed one. So I've never really needed the hacking spike. And then, of course, you got missile extender and optimizer, just like the projectile turret versions, but for missiles. I really never messed with most of this stuff until I was able to get the deflection absorber, because the rest of the crap, I mean, you might start out with a turret accelerator or an optimizer or something like that, but, well, hell, that's nearly 8 million. Never mind. But yeah, the first one I'd start out with would be a turret accelerator and heat management, depending on if you go projectile or energy weapons. That's pretty much it for here. Don't really have enough money to mess with anything just yet. And in this next quest, I'll show you. No point in spoiling the surprise. We'll go ahead and finish it. Excellent. Many thanks for your help. Got two options for you here, a deflector and a tractor beam. Deflectors are an excellent defense in combat, and of course you'll need a tractor to bring in objects to the Rasputin's hold. So, I'm going to get the tractor beam. Deflector shields are useful, but they are limited. They're an active chosen ability, and it's not like a passive shield. You actually press a button to turn it on for a few seconds. It only absorbs a certain amount of damage before it blows up, and then you have to let it recharge. So I'm going to take the tractor beam. If you want to buy either of these, they're the same price, so there's no benefit in one or the other, except for the fact that the tractor beam is going to be much more useful right now than the deflector is. Alright, a fine choice. I'll have my men transfer it to the Rasputin right away. So, what about my aunt? Of course. I was hoping I might trouble you for a quick favor, given how deftly you handled the exchange. Yeah. I guess. What do you want me to do? It's a simple matter. I have some items at a remote storage location, and given their contents, it would be best if they weren't discovered by any interested parties. I need them disposed of, at no real risk to you. Right. You know, when somebody says there's no risk, there's probably risk. They just want you to get out there and do it. I guess. Fine. Perfect. Here's the relevant information. Destroy the containers however you see fit. I'm sure it won't take a moment. I'll be back. Alright, so we've got our tractor beam. Let's go ahead and make sure that it's installed. There it is. And let's get this next mission done. I think for this video we'll finish this mission, and then we'll cut it off for today. Alright. So, let's get going. Come on. Hurry up. Yay, warp. We'll say the the team that made this game, it's a company of two veterans of the gaming industry, came together and made a company called Double Damage. It was basically these two guys and a couple of contractors that made this entire game. They put some incredible work into it. I mean, the visuals of the place are amazing. The scope of each solar system is impressive. I mean, you actually feel like a giant solar system, and I'm getting damaged. Probably should finish this up real quick. And just the thought that went into each little thing. I mean, it shows that they're veterans and they know what the hell they were doing.
Port shields down. Starboard shields down.
It's a very pretty game. Come on. God damn it. Let me spin around again.
Sublight boosters depleted. Engines at maximum. Port shields down.
So this little maneuver you will be seeing a lot. Just
Stop.
orbiting and broadsiding everything. Am I even hitting the damn thing?
Full stop. Port shields down.
There we go. Now we're doing some damage. There we go.
Engines at maximum. Collision warning.
And off another one. Alright. We done?
Inbound.
Oh. Of course. Here's the risk. So, this is something you probably already saw with that distress beacon that I tracked down. But your turrets auto-aim and auto-fire, so you don't have to manually aim them, but you can if you want to. There are 4 different types. You have your projectile cannons, you have your energy weapons, and you have your missiles, and then you have your broadsides. You can manually select each one of those groups with the 1 through 4 keys. It makes, if you want to, tactically change weapons in combat, it's really easy. Most of the time, I leave it on broadsides, number 2, because I don't really need to manually aim anything. And you can set up tactical behavior of your turrets in the main menu of the game, to where you can tell each specific weapon to only attack certain targets or to only fire on locked targets or so and so. But let's get going with this fight here.
Port shields down.
Yeah, shields are down. Where are you guys? You're over there.
Accelerating to sublight.
The Double Jacks are the ubiquitous pirates that are enemies to everybody. Even if you play the pirate faction, you'll be playing as I think a Crimson Skull. They fight the Double Jacks too.
Starboard shields down.
And you're dead. Alright, so now it's just taking care of these fighters. Shouldn't be too much of an issue with the EMP flags.
Starboard shields down. Engines at maximum.
Like I said, you can fire broadsides at the little ships too. Except for the one that's out of range. Alright, you little bastard, come back here. It's time for you to die. Come on. There we go. Hehe. And they are all dead. Alright, so we're done with this one. Let's go ahead and fly home. Nothing to do but sit and watch. Oh, one thing before we go. Just to show you what happens.
You are completed by stellar mass.
You will
Collision
stop, you will hit atmosphere, and you will start to burn up your shields. If you don't get out of the way, you will explode your ship. I just thought that was pretty neat.
completed.
That they even put in, like, atmosphere and planetary effects on your ship.
Accelerating to sublight.
And that little trick right there probably cost me a few thousand credits in hull damage, but I wanted to show you guys.
Exiting sublight. Docking.
Alright, so also shows that anytime you visit a station that's friendly to you, or at least not enemy, you can repair your ship. You can just do a simple repair all, and takes care of everything. Oh, well, not nearly as much as I thought. 820 credits, but still, it's quite a large percentage of what I have. The shipyard is also where you go to buy new, bigger, fancier ships. They all have their uses. But that's for a later day. So let's go ahead and turn in this quest and get it done. So reliable. I can see Juno's influence. Thank you again for your help. Well, pretty much only one option, so favor's done. Now it's time for you to hold up your end. Oh, of course. Well, if you want to track Juno down, I think your most likely bet is to speak with Sandar, her, partner. Your hesitation leads me to believe that this is not as clandestine as you, expect me to believe. Well, how much do you know about your aunt's, activities? She was a pirate. She was a frickin' smuggler. I know what the hell she did. It's one way to look at it. Most folks would call it smuggling, though, and Sandar moved the goods for her. You should try and get in touch with him. He's at some scabby station at the edge of the system. I'll mark it on your chart. Thanks. I'll check it out. And that does it for this time. Go ahead and cut this video off, and if you guys liked it, please let me know. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you want to, even though this is my first video. And we'll see you guys on the next time.